This is Home Value Stories. I'm Jamie Owen. This is a podcast that is designed to educate you, the consumer, about how real estate appraisals work. One question I'm often asked is, how long is the appraisal good for? I answer that question in this episode. I hope you enjoy. All the food that we buy has a shelf life. Basically, that's a period of time in which the food is safe to eat and still taste good, or at least taste basically like we'd expect it to taste. Even before the food is prepared, that countdown clock has already started. Why? Well, because like everything else, food naturally breaks down, and the rate of deterioration is dependent upon many external factors. Here's a few of those factors: light, temperature, oxygen, humidity, and even the way consumers handle food affects the shelf life of food. Packaging methods and food ingredients also play a role. However, even with the best packaging, it does not stop the process of breakdown and deterioration. It only slows it down. Have you ever found a packet of ketchup under your car seat and wondered, I wonder if this is okay to eat? I'm going to go out on a limb and say that you probably haven't. But what if you did? Would it hurt you? How long is the shelf life of a packet of ketchup? According to Kraft Heinz spokesman Lynn Galea, as reported in What's the Shelf Life of a Ketchup Packet, in an article that I read in HowStuffWorks.com, a packet of ketchup has, quote, a shelf life of about 9 months, end of quote. If you eat it after the 9-month period, what would happen? Well, according to Lynn, quote, the ketchup still probably won't harm you if you eat it because of those long-lasting ingredients like vinegar, tomatoes, sugar, salt, and spices. But it probably won't taste like the best ketchup you've ever had either, end of quote. So if you are desperate for a pack of ketchup and you find one under your car seat, go for it. Well, on second thought, don't go for it. There are some foods that have an incredibly long shelf life. Here's an example of 7 that I found on the YouTube video, Watch Mojo's Top 10 Foods That Never Expire. I have a link to this video on my article on this topic at the Cleveland Appraisal blog if you would like to view it yourself. So here we go. Number 1, dry pasta that is stored properly has a shelf life of about 20 years. Number 2, hardtack, also known as ship biscuits, has a shelf life of decades. I think that the name Ship Biscuits might be a great name for a band, too. What do you think? Number 3, hard cheese and wax. Some say that it can last for decades as well. Number 4, hard liquor like whiskey, vodka, or tequila. It'll keep indefinitely. Now that's what I'm talking about. Number 5, white rice, if stored properly, has a shelf life of up to 30 years. Now, other kinds of rice don't last that long. We're just talking about white rice. Number 6, powdered milk, properly stored, can last for decades. And last but certainly not least, number 7, honey. According to researchers, honey can last indefinitely. So there you go. 7 incredible foods that will last for a very long time. Well, I've yammered on enough about food shelf life. And please beware, I'm not a food expert. I'm not even a good cook. You can just ask my wife. So please take this information on food shelf life with, well, A grain of salt. Let's talk a little bit about the shelf life of something that's not edible. Real estate appraisals. In fact, that's the question du jour. What is the shelf life of an appraisal? I'm asked that question on a regular basis. How long is the appraisal good for? Well, here's the simple answer. Drum roll, please. 1 day. Namely, the effective date of the report. Real estate appraisals reflect the appraiser's opinion of value of the property being appraised based upon a specific date, a specific point in time. Why? Real estate values are constantly changing. Like food, there are external forces that affect the value of a home and how rapidly it changes. And these changes take place every day. Now, does that mean that the appraised value will be dramatically different tomorrow than it is today? Well, probably not. However, no appraiser can see into the future to know what tomorrow will bring. What are some things that could affect the market value of a home the day after the effective date of the appraisal? Natural disasters are one. What if, after the home is appraised, massive fires destroy a neighborhood? Unfortunately, this isn't a hypothetical situation. This is taking place on a frightening level on a regular basis in California. In fact, my heart goes out to all of the people that live in California that have been devastated by these catastrophic fires. These natural disasters can have a direct impact on the market value of a home for many reasons. In fact, even after a home is rebuilt, even the increase in insurance rates can have a negative impact on market value. What if something happens to the home the day after it is appraised? Say the next day a huge tree falls on the home. Well, that would certainly change the market value of the home, wouldn't it? There's also economic forces that can rapidly change the home's market value depending on the situation. So there's a lot of things that can happen. Now let's talk about something more positive, shall we? Say the day after the effective date of the appraisal, there's an announcement on the news that a large manufacturer is moving into the area. And they're bringing many jobs to the area. And maybe that area was really hurting for jobs. Furthermore, the anticipated economic stimulus of that company coming into town is going to create other opportunities for smaller businesses to thrive, more shopping, more restaurants, and other desired amenities. Well, all of this can have a positive impact on market value. And while it might seem like that impact is very incremental, the fact of the matter is that that positive change has begun. And there's many other positive things that can happen, and there's negative things that can happen, both that affect the market value of a home the day after it's appraised. And since no appraiser knows what tomorrow will bring, we just don't know. So that effective date is the day that the value is good for. You've no doubt heard that term that change is constant. That means that change is occurring continuously. This is one of the primary reasons why the appraised value is made with a specific date in mind. If you're reading through an appraisal that was communicated on a report-style format, usually you'll see boxes that indicate that property values in a neighborhood are in decline, stable, or increasing. If you see the stable box checked, does that mean that there's no change taking place in values in the neighborhood? No. Sales prices in any neighborhood fluctuate up and down due to changes in supply and demand, which are typically seasonal. So if you see the stable boxes checked, it doesn't mean that there's zero change. It simply means that the levels of fluctuation are relatively minimal. In fact, many in the lending world consider neighborhood appreciation rates of 3% or less to be stable. But what may be considered stable in one market area may be different in another market area. So that's part of the appraiser's research and analysis to make that determination. But the appraiser should be able to support what they indicate in the appraisal using data from the subject's market area. And the appraiser will make time adjustments to reflect major changes in the rates of appreciation or depreciation that's taking place in that market at the time of the appraisal. This is a good spot to take a break and hear from our sponsors. Home Value Stories is sponsored by Find My Appraiser. FindMyAppraiser.com is a network of trusted, knowledgeable local appraisers dedicated to delivering accurate, quality valuations for your home or business. If you're looking for an excellent appraiser in your area, go to FindMyAppraiser.com. They have the best appraisers. Home Value Stories is also sponsored by ConsumerHomeValue.com, your go-to resource for trusted consumer information about all things real estate. Are you buying, selling, moving, considering remodeling, or more? Go to ConsumerHomeValue.com for reliable answers to your real estate questions. Let's talk retrospective dates and forecasting. On a regular basis, I perform appraisals for my attorney clients in which the appraisal is based upon a time in the past. These are called retrospective appraisals, and they're often done for probate work. In fact, those appraisals are usually called date of death appraisals, or for marriage dissolution, where the value needs to be based upon some specific date in the past. With these type of appraisals, the appraiser is going to use data from the time period in which the value is being based upon. So all of the comparable sales and the market analysis are based upon a historical date. Now, it's interesting that since the value is historical in this situation, we can actually see what the market did after the effective date of the appraisal, and that can be beneficial. I also perform appraisals in which some forecasting is required. This is typical in relocation appraisal work. In this type of an appraisal, we use historic trends to forecast an opinion of the anticipated sales price of a home at a future time. Now, typically with this type of an appraisal, the client will provide the appraiser with the specific time period they want us to forecast the most probable anticipated sales price to be, and it's normally about 120 days from the time that the home is inspected. Now, in this type of an appraisal, we apply forecasting adjustments in order to establish the anticipated sales price of the home being appraised. Of course, since we cannot foresee what the future is going to be, we have to make some assumptions, and we call them extraordinary assumptions, because if one of our assumptions fails to be true in the future, that will likely have an impact on our opinion of value. For instance, we must assume that the home being appraised will be in the same condition at that future point in time. And we also have to assume that the market conditions will continue to trend as they have historically been trending. While relocation companies typically order these kinds of appraisals, if you're a homeowner or an investor, you can hire an appraiser to perform the same type of appraisal analysis. Perhaps you're renovating your home and you want to know what the most probable sales price of your home is going to be a few months down the road. An appraiser can help you with this kind of an analysis. But keep in mind, it's not going to be done on a relocation form, but we can definitely do the same kind of analysis for you as we would for a relocation company. I hope this information has helped you to better understand a little about how long the value of your home is good for. Thank you so much for listening to my podcast. I hope that you're enjoying it. If you're a consumer and you have an appraisal question that you'd like for me to talk about in a future podcast, please email me at aspenappraisals@gmail.com. I'd love to hear from you. I look forward to getting together with you again in 2 weeks. Until next time, take care. Now let's talk for a minute about appraisal updates. Since the appraised value of a home is based upon a specific day, what can you do if you wanted to make sure that the appraised value is around the same price 6 months down the road? Do you need to have a new appraisal completed? Well, that really depends on a number of factors. If you're looking for an opinion of value based upon a different point in time, then yes, you will need to have a new appraisal completed. Or if you want a new appraisal completed using the same date, the same effective date as the former one, but you've somehow changed the scope of work, then yes, you will need a new appraisal. For instance, say you had your home appraised based upon its current condition, and then later you decide that you would like to know what your home will be worth if you renovated it based upon that same effective date. Even if the effective date remains the same, the scope of work has changed, and that requires a new appraisal. However, what if you had your home appraised and you just want to make sure that the original appraised value has not declined? What can you do? Well, many lenders order what's called an appraisal update, and you can do the same. In an appraisal update, the appraiser will pull new data and analyze the most current market trends and data, including what the most recent comparable sales are selling for, in order to determine if the original appraised value has decreased or not. It's really just a price validation. So we're not coming up with a new value, we're just validating that the original value has not declined. Now, just a little note to you that the appraiser should not use the same Fannie Mae appraisal update, which is called a 1004D, for doing the appraisal update for you. The reason is that that form clearly states that the intended use of that form is for mortgage finance transactions. But the same type of work can be performed for you, the homeowner, and it's less expensive than having a new appraisal completed, and it might help you to have a better idea of whether the shelf life of your appraised value has expired or not. If you're in Northeast Ohio and you're looking for a friendly and upbeat residential real estate appraiser, give me a call. I would love to help you. You can find me at clevelandappraisalblog.com. And if you're not in Northeast Ohio, go to findmyappraiser.com. They have the best appraisers.